The ocean stretches endlessly under the rising sun, waves glinting like molten glass as a silent shadow moves across the horizon. From a distance, it looks like a small island drifting in the blue, but as you draw closer, you realize it's not an island at all. It's a machine, a moving fortress of steel and power, cutting through the Atlantic waters like a blade. This is the USS Gerald R. Ford, the mightiest warship ever built by human hands. Named after the 38th President of the United States, this ship isn't just a carrier. It's a declaration, a statement to the world that America still commands the seas, that its reach, its strength, and its technology are unmatched. The Ford stands as a floating symbol of what happens when innovation meets ambition, when a nation decides to build something that defies the limits of imagination. The first time you step onto its flight deck, you feel small. The deck stretches longer than 3 football fields, wide enough to carry the dreams of thousands who built it and the pilots who trust it with their lives. Every inch of this ship breathes precision, from the gleaming catapult rails to the massive elevators that rise from the hangar like mechanical giants. You hear the hum of turbines deep below your feet, the pulse of a living machine that never sleeps. It took more than a decade to bring this ship to life. The project began in 2005, driven by a single goal, to create the most advanced aircraft carrier in history. Thousands of engineers, designers, and builders from across America came together at the Newport News Shipbuilding Yard in Virginia. They forged 25 decks, 76 aircraft launch points, and a nuclear heart so powerful it could keep this vessel moving for 25 years without refueling. When you stand on the bridge of the Gerald R. Ford, you see the ocean differently. The ship rises above the water like a skyscraper laid on its side, yet it glides silently, steady and controlled. Every radar pulse, every signal from the command center, every whisper of data that passes through its networks is part of a living system designed for one purpose, to control the skies and the seas at the same time. Down below, deep inside its core, lie the twin nuclear reactors known as the A1B system. Each of them is a marvel of engineering, producing 3 times more power than those on previous carriers. Together, they generate nearly 700 megawatts of energy, enough to light an entire city. This isn't just for propulsion. That power fuels the ship's next-generation catapults, its radar systems, and its defense weapons. It's raw, controlled energy turned into dominance. And then there's the technology that makes it unique, the EMALS, or electromagnetic aircraft launch system. Gone are the old steam-powered catapults that slammed aircraft into the air with brute force. In their place, the Ford uses pure electromagnetic energy, a smooth and silent thrust that launches jets faster, safer, and with less wear on both the aircraft and the pilots. It's like watching the future unfold in real time. Imagine standing on the deck as an F/A-18 Super Hornet rolls forward, its engines roaring, wings trembling under the pressure. A single command, a burst of energy, and the jet vanishes into the horizon, climbing into the sky at impossible speed. Every launch, every recovery is a ballet of timing, coordination, and power. For the crew working beneath the sun and salt spray, it's more than routine, it's purpose. Inside the Ford, the world changes. Hallways stretch endlessly, filled with the low hum of ventilation and the distant rhythm of machinery. There are gyms, cafeterias, workshops, and sleeping quarters that feel like a floating city. More than 4,000 sailors live here at any moment, each with a role, each a small part of a massive design. From the engineers monitoring the nuclear cores to the flight deck crew signaling jets by hand, every person contributes to the ship's heartbeat. Life aboard isn't easy. Days blend into nights, and the endless horizon can feel like both freedom and prison. Yet there's pride here, a deep, unshakable pride that comes from serving on something greater than yourself. Every sailor knows they're part of history, part of the most powerful vessel ever to sail. Even the ship's command center feels like a scene from science fiction. Rows of digital displays glow in the dim light, tracking aircraft, enemy signals, weather patterns, and global operations in real time. Officers stand shoulder to shoulder, eyes locked on screens, voices calm and measured. Every decision made here can change the course of an operation. Every command ripples outward through steel corridors and into the open sea. The Gerald R. Ford isn't just about offense, it's about defense at an unmatched level. Its advanced radar systems can track hundreds of targets simultaneously, from low-flying missiles to distant aircraft. The ship's self-defense suite includes Sea Sparrow missiles, phalanx CIWS guns, and rolling airframe missiles, layers of protection that make it almost untouchable. In the world of naval warfare, it's not just a ship, it's a fortress that moves faster than fear. But what truly separates the Ford from every carrier before it is its adaptability. Its systems are designed for the weapons and aircraft of tomorrow. Whether it's launching next-generation stealth fighters, operating drones, or powering directed energy weapons like lasers and railguns, the Ford is already ready for the future. It doesn't wait for what's next, it prepares for it. Even the crew quarters tell a story of evolution. Where older carriers were cramped and noisy, the Ford brings subtle comfort, more private space, better air conditioning, digital control systems, and even quieter sleeping areas. These aren't luxuries, they're part of a philosophy that says technology should serve the humans who use it. As night falls over the Atlantic, the ship becomes something else entirely. The flight deck glows under red and amber lights, and the sky above fills with stars. Far below, engines hum softly while sailors move through the hallways with quiet purpose. The Ford doesn't rest, it waits, always ready to launch at a moment's notice. In the distance, other ships of the carrier strike group maintain formation, destroyers, cruisers, and submarines, all working together under one command. But it's the Ford that stands at the center, the heart of the formation, the brain of a living fleet. When the first deployment began, there was skepticism. Many wondered if such a massive, expensive project was worth it. $13 billion for a single ship sounded like excess. But as the Gerald R. Ford took to the open ocean, those doubts began to fade. Its performance, its power, and its readiness spoke louder than any headline. Every nation that sees this ship on the horizon understands the message. It's not aggression, but assurance. The assurance that wherever this ship sails, it brings a promise of security, of deterrence, of unmatched capability. It's a tool of peace through strength, a reminder that technology and discipline combined can create something truly beyond limits. The USS Gerald R. Ford is more than a name on a hull. It's a story written in steel and fire, powered by a vision that refuses to settle for ordinary. It's a glimpse of the future, floating silently across the endless blue, carrying with it the hopes, fears, and pride of an entire nation. The hum of engines never stops. Inside the Gerald R. Ford, the air is alive with quiet energy, the kind you can feel under your skin. Somewhere deep below, the nuclear reactors pulse with invisible power, sending lifeblood through the veins of this massive vessel. Up above, on the flight deck, the world is motion, rhythm, and danger. Every minute counts, every sound has meaning. The roar of jet engines, the thud of boots on steel, the sharp whistle of a launch signal, this is the heartbeat of the ship. At dawn, the deck awakens. The ocean mist clings to helmets and flight suits as crew members move in perfect choreography. They call it the dance of the deck. Dozens of sailors wearing color-coded uniforms, yellow for directors, red for ordnance, green for catapult crews, move together in flawless coordination. One mistake here can mean disaster, yet the calm confidence in their eyes says everything. They've trained for this moment again and again. An F-35C Lightning II rolls forward, its sleek shape glinting under the morning sun. This fighter isn't just a weapon, it's a symbol of modern air dominance. Its pilot waits for the signal, breathing steady through the mask, heart racing behind the visor. Then it happens. The electromagnetic catapult charges, and with a surge of invisible energy, the jet explodes into motion, 0 to 160 knots in just a few seconds. The thunder shakes the air, and the fighter vanishes into the clouds, leaving only a shimmer of heat behind. The deck crew doesn't pause. Another jet moves forward, another launch begins. Each mission from this carrier is a precise act of strategy. The Ford doesn't move alone. It sails as part of a carrier strike group, surrounded by destroyers, cruisers, submarines, and supply ships. Together, they form a moving fortress, a shield and sword combined, capable of projecting power anywhere on Earth. In the middle of this formation, the Ford stands as the command center, coordinating every movement, every radar ping, every aircraft in the sky. Deep inside the ship, in the Combat Information Center, the light is low and the atmosphere electric. Large digital screens show radar sweeps, aircraft trajectories, and live intelligence from satellites thousands of miles away. Officers speak in calm, measured tones, their words carrying the weight of precision. Here, technology becomes intuition. Human minds merge with data streams, turning information into awareness. But even with all its automation, the heart of the Gerald R. Ford remains human. Every sailor, every pilot, every mechanic carries a story. There's the young technician from Texas who maintains the catapult systems, the veteran pilot who's seen combat over the Middle East, the cook who feeds thousands every day with quiet dedication. Together they make this steel giant feel alive. Life aboard the Ford follows its own rhythm. There's no sunrise or sunset below deck, just the constant glow of fluorescent light. In the galley, laughter mixes with the clang of metal trays as sailors line up for breakfast. On the hangar deck, crews inspect aircraft, wiping down fuselages still warm from the last flight. In the narrow passageways, you hear music leaking from someone's headphones, the low hum of machinery, and sometimes silence, the rarest sound of all at sea. When storms hit, the carrier becomes a world of its own. The waves outside rise like walls, slamming against the hull with the force of a hammer. Yet inside, the ship remains steady, balanced by its sheer size and engineering perfection. It moves through chaos like a mountain through clouds. Sailors say the Ford feels alive during storms, as if the ship itself breathes deeper, matching the rhythm of the sea. At night, the deck turns into a dreamscape of color. Red lights cast long shadows as jets land in darkness, guided by precision lasers and glowing signal wands. Pilots returning from missions describe it as flying into a galaxy, the stars above, the deck lights below, and the vast unknown stretching in every direction. On board, each landing is met with quiet applause, a small moment of relief in an ocean of tension. Beyond its operations, the Ford carries a message that echoes far beyond the waves. Wherever it sails, whether near the Mediterranean, the Pacific, or the Arctic, nations watch. Allies feel reassured, rivals take notice, because this ship doesn't just bring aircraft, it brings deterrence. Its presence alone can change the balance of a region. It's a reminder that power doesn't always need to be used to be felt. The Ford's communication systems connect it instantly to satellites, drones, and command centers across the world. Information flows in real time, weather changes, intelligence updates, tactical plans. If an emergency arises anywhere on the globe, this ship can respond within hours. It's not just a vessel of war, it's a global command platform, ready to assist, defend, or strike when necessary. Every sailor knows the history they stand upon. They remember the carriers that came before, the Enterprise, the Nimitz, the Kitty Hawk, giants of their time that defined naval warfare. But the Gerald R. Ford surpasses them all, not through size alone, but through design. It's leaner, smarter, more efficient. Its electrical systems replace miles of outdated steam lines, its elevators move faster, and its maintenance costs drop dramatically compared to older carriers. It's not only a machine of war but also a masterpiece of sustainability. Inside the training simulators, young sailors practice scenarios they hope never to face: missile attacks, fires, hull breaches, electronic warfare. The rooms shake with artificial explosions as alarms wail. It feels real, because it has to be. When the real moment comes, there's no room for hesitation. Every move must be instinct. Every decision must save lives. Then there's the flight control tower, the ship's eyes above the storm. From here, officers watch every launch and recovery. The view is breathtaking, the horizon curves gently, the sea glows under the moonlight, and jets streak across the sky like silver comets. In moments like this, even the most hardened sailors pause to feel awe. They know they're part of something larger than themselves, something that carries the legacy of every sailor before them. The Ford also brings a quiet revolution in how navies think about warfare. Its digital backbone allows rapid upgrades, new weapons, new systems, new aircraft can be integrated without rebuilding the ship. It's modular, flexible, alive in the truest technological sense. The future of naval power doesn't belong to those who build the biggest ships, it belongs to those who build the smartest. And in that race, the Gerald R. Ford stands at the front line. There are moments when the crew gathers on deck just to watch the sunset. The ocean turns gold, the air smells of salt and steel, and for a few minutes, everything is still. They laugh, talk, and remember why they serve. Some think of home, others of the next mission, but all share the same unspoken bond, a connection to the ship and to one another. This carrier may be a weapon, but it's also a home. It carries stories, friendships, and memories that will last a lifetime. Each deployment leaves its mark, and every sailor who walks its decks becomes part of its legend. When they return to port and see the coastline rise on the horizon, the feeling is indescribable: relief, pride, and something deeper, a quiet understanding that they've lived. Inside history itself. Morning breaks over calm waters. The first light touches the carrier's deck, and the Ford seems to rise from the sea itself, silent, immense, unshakable. From the bridge, the horizon looks endless, but for the sailors aboard, it's more than scenery, it's the frontier of human reach. Out here, every sunrise feels like a promise that this ship, this symbol of strength, still guards the fragile balance of peace. The Gerald R. Ford wasn't built merely to dominate, it was built to endure. It carries the DNA of a century of American naval power, stretching from the wooden decks of early carriers to the nuclear steel titans that roam the oceans today. Each beam, each welded plate represents a decision to keep pushing boundaries. And though technology has changed, one thing remains, the belief that mastery of the sea means security for the world. From its command tower, officers watch as the fleet around them moves in perfect geometry, destroyers cutting paths like wolves guarding the Alpha. Beneath the surface, submarines glide unseen, their sonar pings faint echoes in the deep. Overhead, fighter jets trace silver arcs through the morning sky. The entire formation breathes as one living organism, each vessel aware that the heart of it all beats inside the Ford. In the ready rooms below deck, pilots sit in silence before their missions. Some review data screens, others stare quietly at the deck, lost in thought. The weight of responsibility is heavy here. They know the jets they fly carry the most advanced systems in the world, but they also know that courage and skill matter more than any machine. When the signal comes, they rise without hesitation, their faces calm, their voices steady. It's discipline forged in the endless rhythm of training. In the ship's lower decks, far from the noise of the flight line, maintenance crews work without fanfare. They grease gears, calibrate sensors, and monitor gauges that most will never see. They are the unseen heroes, the hands that keep this steel colossus alive. Every switch flipped, every bolt tightened, ensures that when the time comes, nothing fails. Their work is quiet, invisible, but without them the power of the Ford would fade to silence. Above them, in the captain's quarters, maps of the world stretch across digital walls. Lines trace shipping routes, tension zones, potential flashpoints. Decisions made here ripple across oceans. Every order must balance strength with restraint, confidence with caution. Because the Gerald R. Ford doesn't just represent might, it represents judgment. Its very presence can change diplomacy, shift conversations, calm fears, or stir rivalries. It's a reminder that technology alone doesn't define power, purpose does. Beyond the steel and circuits lies something deeper, identity. For America, aircraft carriers have always been more than tools of war, they're moving statements of belief. They say that freedom of navigation, global stability, and protection of allies aren't just policies, they're commitments. When the Ford sails into distant waters, it carries those commitments like a flag in motion. As the day stretches on, the flight deck grows louder. Drones buzz in formation alongside fighter jets, maintenance vehicles roll across the deck, command voices echo through the wind. Yet even amid this chaos, there's harmony, an order born from experience. The ship feels alive, aware of its own purpose. And in that motion, you sense the future unfolding. Somewhere beyond the horizon, satellites track its progress, foreign observers take notes, and rival admirals study every move. They know that the Gerald R. Ford represents the next chapter of naval warfare, not through intimidation, but through inevitability. This ship doesn't chase dominance, it defines it. Night returns like velvet over steel. Stars appear, millions of them, reflected in the black water below. The carrier's deck lights shift to deep red, and the ocean glows faintly around its hull. The sound of the waves becomes a lullaby that only sailors understand. Inside, the hum of the reactors remains steady, a constant pulse that never stops, never tires. The ship moves onward, unstoppable, patient. In the crew quarters, laughter echoes through narrow corridors. Someone plays a guitar, another writes a letter home. These small human moments balance the enormity of the ship itself. For all its technology and power, the Ford is still sustained by human spirit, the unbreakable will to serve, to protect, to endure. Every great vessel carries ghosts, not of loss, but of legacy. The Ford carries the spirit of the Enterprise, the courage of the Midway, the sacrifice of the Coral Sea. It carries the history of every sailor who ever faced an unknown horizon and refused to turn back. Each time it launches a jet into the dawn, that legacy continues. The captain steps onto the bridge one last time before midnight watch. The wind cuts cold, and the stars burn bright above the Atlantic. He looks out across the endless dark and feels the weight of command settle on his shoulders. Yet beneath that weight lies pride, pride in the ship, the crew, the mission. He knows that somewhere, thousands of miles away, families sleep peacefully because this giant sails where it must. The Gerald R. Ford glides forward, silent but unyielding, its wake glowing faintly in the moonlight. The ocean stretches ahead, infinite and mysterious. But the ship doesn't fear the unknown, it was built for it. In the years to come, new carriers will rise, new technologies will emerge, and new generations will take the helm. But this ship will remain a legend, the vessel that redefined what human engineering could achieve. When history looks back, the USS Gerald R. Ford will stand not just as a warship, but as a symbol of human ambition, proof that even on the vast, indifferent sea, we can build something that endures, something that commands respect, something that carries the fire of a nation. As the horizon fades into darkness, a single light remains on the deck, a beacon cutting through the endless blue. It's a reminder that power, when guided by purpose, becomes more than strength. It becomes legacy, and somewhere in that light, the story of the USS Gerald R. Ford sails on, eternal, unstoppable, forever watching over the seas of tomorrow.